feel like this is a good angle. Anyways, welcome back to this short video that I thought I'll go through the 7 things that I think you should know before buying a Suzuki Jimny, specifically the JB74 model, which I have, which I'm currently sitting in. So I think the reason why I wanted to make this video was because I'm getting a lot of questions from people in terms of, I only hear the good stuff about the Jimny, or like there's so many things that I don't know before I'm buying one. I don't know if it's the right fit for me and all these things. So therefore I thought I would make this video based on, I will say this is based on my own opinion. So obviously people have different opinions about the car, but this is based on my opinion and what I've learned owning this Jimny for almost a year now. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to bring up is the GVM upgrade for the Suzuki Jimny. So in Queensland, where I live and where I purchased my car, there is a federally approved GVM upgrade which increases the payload for the Jimny about 350 kilos from what it originally can carry legally. So what it means is that when I ordered my Jimny, I wanted to get a pre-registration GVM upgrade, which meant that when it came out of the dealer, it wasn't registered yet, but I managed to get the GVM upgrade through Ironman 4x4, which were, they were the only ones offering the GVM upgrade at that time. And they installed the upgrade for me, and we then registered the car, which made the car legal all across Australia with the GVM upgrade. And you can also do it post-rego, so it's after you registered it, if you owned it for half a year or whatever, but it will cost you a bit more because you have to pay more for the engineering fees and all that stuff. And also I don't quote me on this, but I don't think it will be legal all across Australia. So it will be legal and approved in Queensland. So let's say you want to sell your Jimny to New South Wales or to another state, it probably won't be pulled across. So I believe if you want to get the GVM upgrade, try and do your research and do it before the car is registered. But the reason why I wanted to get the GVM was because I didn't want to risk overloading my car, going off-road, going camping, packing it up to the brim. Because if you do think about what it can currently carry, if you put 2 people, you put a fridge in the back, you put batteries, you put bigger tires on it, roof rack, boxes, all that stuff that you need for camping, you are likely to go over the GVM. And with that meaning that if you're in an accident and you have an insurance company that covers your car with comprehensive insurance that you pay like thousands of dollars for a year, you don't want to be in a situation where they're not going to cover you because you overloaded your car. So that's basically where I'm coming from in terms of the GVM. And to me it feels, it does come with a lift, by the way, the GVM upgrade. So driving wise, it felt so much better. And I also know that my car is covered and I can stack it up all the way to the roof without worrying about the load on the car. So with the GVM upgrade, do your research, check out Ironman 4x4. They have a really good article on the web regarding that. But yeah, that's my experience with the GVM. The second thing I want to talk about is the roof load on the Jimny. So in Australia, the roof load has been set by Suzuki Australia and the manufacturer as 30 kilos, meaning that when you put a roof rack on and you put a light bar and you put all that stuff, you quite easily to go over 30 kilos. And a lot of people are like, oh, but why do I care about that? And my response to that is, if you overload your roof just as you overload the car and you're in an accident, I mean, your insurance company might not cover you. So it is sort of that discretion that you have to evaluate yourself. Obviously, if you do load your Jimny with 70-80 kilos on the top, it's going to affect the driving and also push the point of gravity, or what should I say, the the center of gravity of your car higher. So meaning that if you tilt a little bit, if you go off-road and you have a big rooftop tent, you have all that stuff on your car, you are easier to tilt either way. And also wind resistance, that's a lot to say if you're driving on the highway. But if you are overloaded, it can affect your braking, so your braking distance. So there are multiple things that you should take into consideration when it comes to the roof load. And personally, myself, I try to stay under it on a daily basis because I don't want to be in, like, I don't want to get an issue in terms of me overloading it. But what I have on my car currently is a roof rack, which is about 18 kilos. Then I have the kick-ass awning with rack sprack, so I can actually take it quite easily on and off. And then I got an awning which weighs about 2-3 kilos. And I got a light bar which weighs about, I think it might weigh around 4-5 kilos. So I am under the 30 kilos or just on it, which is great for me on a daily basis. If I do go camping, you normally put a box or two and a couple of surfboards on top, so you will probably go over the 30 kilos because it's not a lot. But what I'm trying to say is that just be mindful of what you put on top of your Jimny, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you have overloaded it and you get issues and if you crash with the car or whatever. So keep that in mind in terms of the roof load capacity. And if your dream is to get a car and put a big rooftop tent on and travel around Australia, not sure if I would recommend it, because you know your car probably won't be insured for that. So just look into that and just make sure that you purchasing a vehicle that will fit your need camping wise. Will say the reason why I bought the Jimny was because I love going up the beach for a couple of days or whatever, so I don't require a rooftop tent. But if you do, look into your options, because this car might not be the best option for you then. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the highway traveling in this car. And I feel like it's a very heated topic. It's discussed a lot. I do look at a lot of the discussions and sometimes I'm like, no. This car is, in my opinion, not very, it's not made for the highway. It's not aerodynamic. It does wobble. In terms of my car, I've upgraded my suspension, so my car sits way better on the highway than it did stock. But if you are a person where your workplace is 50 kilometers each way to work every single day, I'm not sure personally if I would want to drive that much on the highway in this car. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's more just safety wise and how loud and noisy it can be inside, which I will get to on the next point. But I think just highway traveling, it's not that comfortable. I would probably give it a score 4 out of 10 highway traveling, being generous. But I think people have different opinions about it. A lot of people do commute in it and they say it's fine, and that's obviously their opinion. My opinion would be that if you are going to commute that much in a car, I would look at getting something else to commute in if you do have the money for that. This is a great off-road vehicle, which I think is what it's meant for. It's not meant for just driving on the highway all the time, because it's just not comfortable and it's a bit unstable in my opinion. But yeah, I think you just sort of look into your need in terms of what you're going to use the car for. The other thing I touched upon just now in the third point was that the car is quite noisy. So I think this brings me to my fourth point, which is the soundproofing of the car. So I decided to soundproof my car, and it has definitely improved the fact that I can now talk to the passenger next to me without screaming to them. It obviously depends how fast you drive, but I felt like in the beginning the car was just quite noisy. Just hear everything going on, and the music wasn't great. Nothing it didn't stay in the car, everything came from the outside. So if you do get the Jimny, I do 100% recommend you to soundproof it. It will make your life so much easier on the highway, and or when you're driving in general. Way more comfortable, and you can talk normally to the passenger next to you, which is great. Bringing me to my fifth point, the speakers in the car. And the speakers I will say they're quite shit. They are quite shit from factory, I'm not gonna lie. They they just don't, it's just not great sound quality. So what I did was that I bought some speakers aftermarket. I do have the speakers and the brackets and everything that I bought on the link on my Instagram, so you can go and check that out. I did upgrade my speakers. It's been way better since then, and you can also put in speakers in the rear, which will make the sound much better. I haven't done that yet. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Didn't see it as a thing that I really needed, but probably eventually when I'm bored and I want to do some new modifications to the car, I'll put it in. 100% I recommend you to upgrade the speakers in this car. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the space in the car. So I get a lot of questions from people that have a family and they want to go traveling and all that stuff, and there are 4 people in the car. I know there are people that do that, and I have friends also that travel with their family, which is 100% possible. However, in my opinion, if you want to spend a lot of time traveling and you're traveling with your family and you want to be sort of self-sufficient when you camp, so I mean not traveling to, for example, Fraser Island and staying in accommodation, but if you want to actually camp on Fraser and bring everything with you, anything above 2 people, in my opinion, it's too much. Like, you won't be able to fit everything that you want in the car, like tent, cooking appliances, food, recovery gear, clothes, all that stuff. So I think the car is too small for that. But if you're 2 people, absolutely go for it, and you could definitely use it for traveling and being self-sufficient when you camp. So that's what I do, and I have had no issues so far, and with the upgrades that I've had to the car, it's just made it so much better as well. Not saying you have to upgrade your car, you can go stock standard to Fraser Island with your Jimny. That's what's so great about them as well. So I guess the upgrades and the lifts and stuff just makes it more stable and able to handle maybe rougher terrains. But at Fraser, you'll definitely be able to get around with your stock Jimny if you do decide to head there. Can't remember how many things I've actually talked about now. And one of the last things I want to talk about is aftermarket accessories and modifications and things like that. I get a lot of questions about that. People want to do modifications and accessories to their car directly from the dealer. In my response to that would be not to put any bad light on any of that, but I would say that people need to do their research and figure out different pricing and costs for things. Because I personally was offered something in terms of pricing that I found way cheaper aftermarket. So what I'm trying to say is that people should look at their local suppliers and figure out what people charge for example, rust proofing, what someone would charge you for speaker installation, for ceramic coating of the paint of the car, and in general window tinting, for example. So make sure that you do your research so you're not spending more money than you need to for these things. It's super easy to sort of get pulled into that wave where you're getting a new car and you want to get all that stuff right of the dealer, which you obviously can, and a lot of the dealers also do have agreements and cool deals with suppliers that might even make it cheaper for you, so you really have to check that out. But sometimes it is definitely better to do things aftermarket. My car came out completely stock from the dealer. I didn't do anything. What I did after was that I did rust proofing straight out of the bat. I had already booked the car in, so the car was getting rust proofed, and I got window tinting. I decided not to go with ceramic coating of the car because I do clean it a lot and I do take care of the polish. Doesn't mean I probably shouldn't have done it, but to me it was just more like a money thing on that end. But all the accessories and stuff I've normally installed myself or YouTubed it. So yeah, definitely do your research and figure out sort of the pricing and what you want to spend on different things. That comes to the end of this video, and I really hope that you learned a lot from this and it hopefully answered some of the questions that you have. I think that most of the questions that I covered in this video today are the ones that I regularly get from people. So I thought that making a YouTube video and answering them like this will probably make life a little bit easier for you. Maybe I'll give you some tips and tricks in terms of what you can do before your car arrives. But I really hope that you sort of figure out whether this is the car for you or not. But I will also make a video about the 5 best things about owning a Jimny as well. So this is more an informative video about you buying a Jimny and making the right decisions for you and making sure that you're buying the vehicle that will suit your needs. But thank you so much for watching the video, and if you have any comments or anything that you would like answered, you can always message me on Instagram or leave a comment in the comment section below. Well, I'll see you later. Bye bye.